I will tell you what, you want to get ready for a podcast or a video and you're not awake? Go out in the snow in your t-shirt and move your garbage cans for the truck. Oh, that will wake you up. Good morning. Welcome to another Fundamentals of Parenting. I'm Jaime Buckley. And magic happens in a relationship between child and parent when the child knows they can count on you in any given situation to be fair and just. If there's one thing that I could guarantee will bring about your downfall as a parent, it's your lack of consistency. Children and young children in particular must have consistency if they're to learn and thrive under your direction. What's worse is that if you lack consistency, your child will develop the opinion that you are a liar, because you are. Harsh, I know, but think about this. You see your child behaving in a way that they shouldn't, and you give them a warning. They don't stop, so you warn them again. They don't stop, so you tell them that you will punish them for the bad behavior. As an example, let's just say spanking, okay? Thing is, you don't actually want to spank them, but it sounds scary or firm enough to get them to comply to your wishes. The problem with this is that you had no intention to follow through, so the next time they misbehave, all you do is issue out the same threat, but with more feeling and intensity in your voice. You've already lost, because you lied about the punishment and didn't follow through. Why would your child believe you now? Because now you mean it? Right. Ruby is my youngest of the 13 children. She's intelligent, she's very funny, and for a 2-year-old, she has the will of a titan. The other thing is, she's a screamer. And I mean the banshee from hell, the world's gonna end kind of screamer, especially when she is mad. The whole house knows when this girl has been offended for any reason whatsoever. Now, the good news is that she and I have a strong connection. We have since she was born. So when I am compelled to punish her, it's more about the emotional tie than any pain or discomfort. And to me, that's a really good thing. I prefer it to be that way. And she's saddened knowing that I'm disappointed in her, something that she shares with her oldest brother, Evan. That's the way he was when he was a little boy. And there are times when Ruby is so angry or distraught that she gets beyond her mother's ability to deal with her. And Daddy gets involved. I'll call her by name. Ruby, what's wrong? I'll ask. Roman took my doll. And you screamed, I'll add, to let her know that I noticed. Often she'll nod sadly, and she'll say nothing, but sometimes she'll deny it. So I'll let her know that I heard her. What did Daddy tell you to use? My words. That's right, I'll smile, adding a soft pat on the shoulder or brushing the hair from her face to help eye contact. You remembered. Good job. So I want you to use those words. But I'm mad, she replies, because it was my doll. I can tell. But when you get mad at someone, Daddy wants you to get help. Huh, she will repeat, nodding. Ruby, Daddy doesn't want you to scream like that. I want you to use your words. So if you scream again, Daddy is going to spank your bottom. That's when tears will start to flow. But I don't want spanked, she'll huff. Often I'll hug her, but this is the moment that it's a big deal for both of us. It's when I'll make sure I have her full attention, and I do all I can to make sure she feels the love and concern in my words and my countenance. I know, sweetheart. Daddy doesn't want to spank you either. It makes Daddy sad to spank you. So I want you to not scream. Okay, because if you scream again, Daddy will spank you. All right? All right, she sniffs. Then I'll pull her in. I'll give her a great big hug and a kiss, and I'll add, so I want you to try really hard to remember, okay? And she'll nod, okay. Then off she goes. Now, here's the thing. Most of the time, that's the last that I'll hear for hours on end, unless she gets teased by her brother. And that's another story, another situation. However, on these occasions, when she goes right back, goes right back to screaming, I'll either call her back or she gets brought back to me, usually kicking and screaming along the way. Once she sees me, she stops screaming and she stops kicking. Ruby, I'll say softly, and motion for her to come to me. Did Daddy talk to you about screaming? Nodding, she'll say yes. And did you scream again? Most of the time she says yes, but once in a while when she knows she's in trouble, she'll shake her head. Ruby, Daddy said that if you scream again, you would need to be spanked. Crying, but I don't want spanked. Now it's me who gets watery eyes. And Daddy doesn't want to spank you. But you screamed again, and now I have to. What follows is a spank. Now here's the thing, though. Just firm enough to make an impression on her emotions, all right? But not her backside. So this is all an emotional thing for her. And I hope that makes sense. When you have a child that is so connected to you, and I love when this happens. I wish all children were like this because it would make things easier for me, for you, for all of us. When you have that connection with your child, there doesn't need to be the pain. It's because they love you. They love you so much. They want to do things to please you. And most children do in one way or another. But this is very specific. This is just Ruby and Evan that I noticed. And so you only do just enough for the experience, not the discomfort, because it's all with the heart. And they learn thoroughly. And it's a beautiful thing. So I'll make sure that once I've spanked her just enough so that there's that connection there, Ruby will cry and I'll hold her in my arms. I'll give her a hug and I'll rub her back. And I tell her that I love her. And then here comes the key part. I'll make sure that we're looking at each other and then I explain, it hurts, Daddy, to see you cry because I love you. So please don't scream again because I don't want to spank you. But I will if you choose to scream again. Okay? Okay, she will usually reply, or she gives me a nod. Now, over 90% of the time, that's the last issue that I'll have with her for the entire day. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. Taking that time to make that connection with her. And I strive doing that with all of my children, not just because I have that connection with them. So 90% of the time, that's the last time I'll have an issue with her. It's not all the time, but the moods in the life of a 2-year-old, they definitely fluctuate. Now, here's the why. I choose to be consistent because my why tells me that I want children that have both trust and confidence in me. For them to have trust and confidence in me, they must be able to count on my consistency. It's key. You've got to be consistent with your children. They can be mad at me, they can disagree with me, but my children can, for the most part, tell you how I will react or act in most any given situation. They just can. Because I am consistent. Funny thing, I bumped into one of my religious leaders a while back, and I stopped him in the church hallway. There'd been a rumor going around for a little while about me and my conduct, but I couldn't find out why that was being said or from whom. And the man shook his head and laughed. He says, "Don't worry about it, Jaime. No one who knows you has listened to the lies. If there's one thing that we've learned about you over the last 25 years is you're consistent." And I had to smile. It was a good thing to know. All right, now the how. I know I use punishment as an example for consistency, but it's not limited to this. All right, I just used it. It was the easiest thing for me to explain. You need to be consistent in whatever your goals are with your children. You know what goals you are. You remember, I'm not the parent in your family. You are. I am here to support you and sustain you as a parent. I respect your place as mom or dad in your household. I'm here. I've got your back. This information is to help you. I'm not making the decision. You are. All right? Do you make sure their homework is completed, if that's what's important to you? Are the dishes done in a timely manner or some other chore that you've instructed your child to do? Do they hang the towels up in the bathroom or pick up their clothes from the floor? Do they share their toys, like I strive to teach Ruby? In the most simple of terms, say what you mean and mean what you say. It really is that simple. It's just not that easy. You'll be tempted to make exceptions, to play favorites. Don't. It's the best advice I can give. Don't. Your integrity will always hang in the balance, and the cost of compromise isn't worth the long-term damage you'll do to yourself and others. Conclusion. There's something I'd like to say in closing because it's one of the core beliefs I have as a parent. And I want you to listen really careful. This is why I brought up spanking as an example with Ruby. Never discipline a child in anger. Ever. It's never the right course to take. Ever. And I promise you that you will damage your relationship with your child if you ever do it in anger. That goes triple if you're issuing anything physical like spanking, especially a little child. I am so careful how I do this. And I'm telling you, there's no exception to this. Yes, you can be upset and you can and probably will be disappointed at times, but when you are dishing out a punishment, you should be calm, direct, focused, and ushering out only enough to do the job that it's meant to do. Discipline should be about the child, not you. Okay? Anything more than this, and I promise you, you'll regret it. What to do next? Because consistency is so important, I suggest you take 20 minutes and ponder on your own patterns as a parent. Write down the process you have and study it. Are there improvements that you can make? Are there ways to make this more personal between you and your child so that it sticks? Like what I described with Ruby. I make it personal and emotional, and I make it an experience that both of us are having. I want her to know how much I love her and how much I don't want to do this one thing. But for that not to happen, there needs to be an understanding and an obedience. And I help her and encourage her to choose. There's one other thing that I didn't bring up. And I'll put this in as a side note, but it is important. And that is, there are times throughout the day when I don't know if you're a new parent or you're working with your children that you've had for a while. But I will tell you this. Pay particular attention to the mood of your child. remember their capacity is not as great as yours. Their ability to remember is not as great as yours. So be mindful that maybe, if you pay attention, there will be times when your child is feeling overwhelmed by variables that are happening throughout the day. And when I do notice that, for example, with Ruby, I will remind her. I don't just, she screams again, bring her in, spank her. That's not how it always works. I try to listen to, like I said, if her older brother is teasing her, that's a different situation. That's not all on her. But at the same time, take lately. We have had so much illness. We've had looming death over our family with so many people. And my wife and I have been gone for the last 4 days. And that is huge for a 2-year-old to not have their mother who loves them and has a routine with them for 4 days. So when we come home and she is screaming or crying or fussing consistently, that's not all on her. We've inflicted that upon her by being absent. And I strive to take that into account, and instead of spanking, I turn that around and try to just spend time with her, loving her and holding her and rebuilding up that assurance that mom and dad are still here. And I'm sorry we've been gone. We've had to take care of some very important things that I know you don't understand, but mom and dad are here now. Let's read you a book. Let's watch a movie together. Let's, we're going to sit here with Grandpa because Grandpa's very ill, but we'll hold you. And so take those things into account. Be your mom, your dad. Be aware. Have patience with your children. You love them, after all. So I just wanted to make sure that I pointed that out. And everyone's up and moving. So have a wonderful day. And remember, you've got this. You do. You can do this. All right. Remember, if you know of anyone that could use this information, I'd like you to think of 2 to 3 people who could use the hope, who could use the instruction, and share this with them. Share our podcast, share our video, and share our blog. And we'll see you next time.